Youth who are using marijuana at the same level as an adult using marijuana are at twice the risk of developing an addiction. The country is increasingly legalizing marijuana, whether that's for its medical use or for recreational use. And there are some potential benefits that may come with that. One is it may help us view marijuana addiction as being more of a public health problem than a criminal justice problem. The other benefit is there does seem to be some significant research that there are some medical conditions for which the active ingredients within marijuana may be helpful. The risks or the dangers that come with it, most experts in the field believe outweigh the possible benefits. The biggest area of concern for legalized marijuana, I would say, would be the impact of this on youth. Youth who are using marijuana at the same level as an adult using marijuana are at twice the risk of developing an addiction.
Well, that's all well and good. The problem that I have with the argument that people will be addicted, or of course, would you think about the children, is that it ignores reality. This is why we have age limits for purchase. And I know you can get around that. I should know, I went to college. But let me tell you, having gone to college, I also know that people like doing drugs, whether they're legal or not. Whether it's at the store or from your buddy, you will not stop kids taking drugs by making or keeping them illegal. They already do it. Making it legal will just mean that they would have to get it through a buddy who's old enough to buy it from a store, just like they do with alcohol already, which is still illegal. And in fact, the person selling it to them would get a pretty harsh punishment for selling drugs to a minor. This is an example of a problem that you cannot legislate your way out of.
While it may be safe for some adults to be using this in a controlled way, for teens it really isn't, because the brain is developing, it is much more susceptible to addiction, and so you have double the risk of becoming addicted to marijuana if you're a kid, if you're using it at the same level that your parents are.
I mean, okay, sure. If you want to raise concern about stunning brain development and things like that, I'm all behind that goal. Don't use it if you're still developing, because you won't only be more likely to become addicted to cannabis and other drugs because it affects pleasure-seeking and impulse control pathways. But here's the thing. Making it legal will not change fundamentally how they're going to have to get it. Does it really matter whether the person selling it to them got it legally or not? In a practical sense, I can't see how it would. And by the way, alcohol and tobacco also affect brain development. So where's all the outrage about adolescent alcohol or tobacco use, saying that it'll make you more prone for addictive behavior and other behavioral issues down the road? Because this is also true. Oh right, prevention is the major emphasis in public health campaigns, rather than trying to give prohibition another go, because what about the children? All I ask is for just a little bit of consistency, but please go on.
The other major areas of concern with legalization of marijuana is going to be the incidence of drug driving, and particularly the co-occurrence of drug driving with drunk driving. The combination of marijuana and alcohol really exacerbates someone's ability to drive safely.
Also illegal, just like alcohol. All right, let's put the issue of stacking intoxicants aside for a moment and look at this more generally. Whether alcohol and cannabis together is worse than alcohol or cannabis alone, who cares? Let's just acknowledge that we shouldn't drive when we're intoxicated. Cool? Cool. It's already currently illegal to drive while intoxicated on cannabis, whether it's legal or not in the state that you're in. So again, legalization wouldn't change anything there.
Probably the biggest area is if it's legalized, then tobacco companies and other big business is going to be getting involved in the promotion of this. And we've seen the effects of that on the health of Americans with our two legal substances, alcohol and tobacco. Once big tobacco or other corporate interests get behind the marketing of substances, it takes it to an entirely different level than when you've got a small business in Colorado that's sort of a boutique coffee shop kind of business, and you shift that to high-level manufacturing and marketing and advertising. It completely changes the playing field, and I think most people aren't prepared for that.
Okay, quick question. Do you think that people were ready for reefer madness? Were they ready for all the racist propaganda that was used to lobby against its legality in the first place? How about the false and or greatly exaggerated fear-mongering health claims? Clearly not. This is a poor argument. The idea that nobody's ready for seeing legal cannabis in advertising. Sure, you're going to see an influx of new users, I'm sure. I'm sure people will abuse it. You will not avoid that by keeping it illegal, though. At what point would we be able to be confident that we are ready? Like, how do you measure that? And let's not forget that it's not as if we aren't exposed to cannabis imagery in our everyday life, or that cannabis-related advertising doesn't already exist. I mean, it's already a feature of pop culture in the form of its presence in song lyrics, endorsements, and products in the cannabis industry by public figures like Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg, etc.
You, friends, fun, drink, hot girls,
Movies, Netflix series, documentaries, communities on YouTube.
you in a tuxedo, this girl, vodka, drink it all, you pussy.
And everything in between. Lots of blogs, articles in mainstream media and otherwise.
Drink. Please drink responsibly.
This isn't a new drug, and this is an absurd argument to make, that simply the act of making it legal would make society lose their grip on restraint and moderation that we accept exists for other recreational drugs, like alcohol. Even in the face of evidence of hundreds of thousands of deaths per year caused by a departure from this grip on restraint and moderation for these recreational drugs. Not to be overly pessimistic, but in the grand scheme of things, I think this is an issue of selective attention to cannabis because it's more controversial than something like alcohol. I don't think that people aren't ready for it. I think that it's people are scared of everything that might happen and see the kind of danger that recreational drugs can actually pose in society. And I think this could develop into an issue of paralysis by analysis if it hasn't already. If you keep looking for reasons to keep a drug illegal, you will find them, and then you'll just feel justified in keeping it illegal because look how dangerous it is. But in reality, it's just you found an excuse to ignore the same issues, oftentimes ones that are demonstrably worse as it is, that you readily point out exist in other more culturally endorsed substances, that you don't have a problem with being out there at the corner store or being advertised at the local basketball game.
Drink.
Promulgating fear and refusing to do anything to make ourselves feel like we don't have to deal with these risks in the current situation as it is ultimately damaging, and in my opinion is pulling the wool over your eyes from a public policy perspective and just from a moralistic perspective too. And it actually criminalizes and stigmatizes the drug culturally, which creates its own problems with deviancy. Anyways, this video is way too long. That was the big problem with legalizing marijuana. If you like this video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay meducated.